I'm Dr. Mitch Roth in the Department of Plant Pathology here at Ohio State University, and I do research on the Worcester campus primarily on fungal and Oomycetes pathogens of field crops like corn and soybean. If you haven't heard by now, there's a campaign going on at Ohio State University in the Horticulture and Crop Science Department asking the question, which should we plant first, corn or soybeans? Either way, you're taking a small risk when you plant early because you're exposing your seeds to longer durations of cool, wet soils. And now in soybeans, that means a higher prevalence of water molds or Oomycetes like Pythium and Phytophthora. One way you can protect your soybeans against these early season diseases and pathogens that like cool, wet conditions is by treating your soybeans with a fungicide seed treatment. There are many seed treatments on the market with many different active ingredients, specifically targeting different groups of pathogens like the water molds or like true fungi.
Hello, my name is Horacio Lopez Nicora. I'm the soybean pathologist and nematologist in the Department of Plant Pathology here at The Ohio State University. We're here today for another episode of the Battle for the Belt, and we want to talk about some of the soil-borne pathogens that may challenge our soybean production when we are deciding when to plant soybean. So one of the common diseases that probably you're very familiarized with is sudden death syndrome, SDS. These symptoms is very typical, as you may see, but it shows up very late in the season, around R4, R5, R6, when those seeds are putting weight within those pots. And pretty much there's nothing we can do at that point anymore. But let me bring you back to when exactly things happen with the fungus that causes SDS. The fungus is Fusarium virguliforme. There are many species, but Fusarium virguliforme is one of the most prevalent one. And as you can see here in the disease cycle, infections really take place very early after planting. As a matter of fact, cold soil, compaction, wet conditions, but those very cool soil will enhance that infection early after planting. Um, this is a root rotter. The fungus will feed on the root. And as you can see here, the root is being damaged by the fungus. You can actually see the fungus growing on the root. You can see a bluish type of growth that sometimes is very obvious when we pull roots out. You can also see a discoloration in those roots, which indicates that they have been damaged by this pathogen. Now, this is the first component of a potential yield reduction, damage to the root system. The fungus will continue colonizing the root system and also producing toxins that will be translocated upwards. And these toxins will cause these very characteristic visible symptoms. The fungus, it's not in the leaf. The fungus, it's in the root, producing toxins that are translocated upwards, creating this intervenial chlorosis and necrosis of the leaf area and causing premature defoliation. And that's the second way that this fungus can contribute to yield reduction in our field. The fungus will continue developing and inoculum will continue building up. And as you can see, if we do not move out of soybean in a rotation scheme, we can encounter more of this pathogen in the next season. But the causal agent of sudden death syndrome is not the only organism that can be causing problems to our soybean, especially when we're planting early or under conducive environmental conditions for these other pathogens. We have other fusariums, in this case, Fusarium graminearum. You may have heard this or you will hear this a lot because it also affects wheat, corn, and soybean. Another one that will damage the seedlings and will cause stand reduction. Rhizoctonia is another pathogen that can be encountered and will also cause damping off, stand reduction. Now, so important is knowing what type of organisms we have. I like this image here because it clearly shows that when we challenge these seedlings with Fusarium graminearum and we use an adequate product that is meant to manage this type of true fungi, in the case of Captan and Maxime there, we see that the seedlings are growing very well even under the exposure of this pathogen. However, if the selection of the product is one that is meant to be used for water molds, in this case, Apron Max, that one will have absolutely no effect on these true fungi, and you can see how those seedlings are completely affected, deteriorated, and if they were in the ground, will not come out, and we will suffer that stand reduction that later on will translate in yield reduction. Now, this is a good time to talk about other organisms, and we talk about or cover briefly the water molds when we're talking about selecting an adequate product. And these water molds are composed of mainly Phytophthora and Pythiums, even though we have other species. But typical symptoms here that we will see in the field is dumping off again. So it will be either the seed completely dead before even germinating, or there will be a pre-emergence dumping off, which is that the water molds will be affecting that recently germinated seedling before it emerged, or as you can see here, right post-emergence, they can be also affected by these pathogens. Now, in many cases, for the case of Phytophthora, we may encounter that conditions are not conducive at planting, but later on with heavy rains and a lot of water, some of these plants that are susceptible can also be damaged by Phytophthora. So again, I want to show here that the disease cycle, I think that is really good when we're trying to understand how this organism causes significant damage to our crop. It's really nice to see that we always need that disease triangle. We need a susceptible host, in this case soybean. We need a virulent pathogen, in this case we're talking about the water molds here, and we need that conducive environmental condition. And for water molds, that conducive environmental condition is saturated soil. We need that standing water that will allow the pathogen to infect our soybean seedlings. Notice that we may have different species of Phytophthora and Pythium that can do very well in a very wide range of temperature. But it's that saturated soil, when we do not have a well-drained field and water is sitting, that we will encounter these type of problems. And remember, an integrated management approach that considers the resistance of the crop to plant, seed protectant in the sense of selecting the products that will most effectively manage the pathogens that we have in our field, and the understanding of the threats that we have in our environment, the pathogens that we have in our field, will make important points for us to be able to produce and get the profit that we need at the end of the season. With that, doesn't matter what you decide to plant earlier or later, remember that Team Soybean will win this battle.
Hi, I'm Laura Lindsay, and I'm the soybean and small grain agronomist at Ohio State. Today is May 2nd. I'm in Clark County at the Western Agricultural Research Station in the Battle for the Belt project. This corn was planted about 2.5 weeks ago, and you can see it has emerged from the ground. These are the soybeans at the Western Agricultural Research Station in Clark County. They were planted about 2.5 weeks ago. Today is May 2nd. You can see that they're emerged from the ground. The cotyledons are up, but they're a little yellow in color and bronze in some areas. So there's an indication of perhaps some minor frost damage to these plants. Ohio has been experiencing fairly cold weather right now, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Hi everyone, this is Osler Ortez, a state corn agronomist at Ohio State. We are at the Worcester location this morning, just checking how are things going. We have 2 planting dates in the ground, completely wet fields, barely half-inch of emergence in some of the corn seedlings. We couldn't find any emergence out of the ground for soybeans. We did find some emergence out of the ground for corn, again, maybe half-inch at the most. So we are making some progress there. Low temperatures, wet conditions, getting us a little bit behind the schedule here. But we will see what sunny days like today will bring us in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. We are seeing better temperatures, warmer weather. We still need to fight the rain and find the right times to come back and get our next planting dates for the project. Today is 55 degrees. We will see how much progress we can make. And that's the report I have for everyone today.
Hi, I'm Taylor Dill, and I'm the PhD student for Battle for the Belt. And what we were doing today, we were looking at our corn and soybean seedlings, and we're looking at a new protocol to see seedling diseases and corn diseases. So we're going to be taking seedling samples from both corn and soybeans at every planting to date to see the implications of both disease and insects. And today we found some insect damage on our soybeans that aren't emerged yet up here. However, we believe that it could be seed corn maggots causing some damage and delay. So we look forward to starting this new protocol.
I'm up here at the Northwest Agricultural Research Station here on Friday, May 5th, and I'm checking on the first soybean planting date field for the Battle for the Belt project. And you can see behind me there's a lot of rows planted, but not a lot of beans coming up. We do have some starting in furrow. Should be up hopefully in the next few days. Pretty excited to see the battle. Over here checking out the corn side of things, up here at the Northwest Agricultural Research Station here Friday, May 5th. The first planting date for corn looks like it's starting to emerge. We can see some of these plants just starting to come out right here. There's a few more coming down the line, so we're just starting to get some emergence. Excited to see who wins. Hashtag Team Corn, hashtag Team Soybean.